Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please write me to my email address, which is walkwithtak@gmail.com, with any questions that you might have. I love to hear from you, and I will answer any question that you have promptly. In fact, I will create videos that will address specifically some of the common questions that many viewers raised. And today's video is a good example. I have several people ask me, how do you store your seasoning agents? That's including sauces as well as dry seasoning agents. Actually, I have two thoughts on this. The first is that how did you store them to keep them fresh and to maintain their suitability to use in your cooking? The second part of this question lead to a different answer is that how do you store them so that you can use them as efficiently as possible so they will be ready at your fingertip anytime when you want to use them. In this video, I'm going to answer questions that are raised by several viewers. How do you store wet seasoning agents? One of the viewers told me that in order for her to feel safe that her seasoning agents will stay fresh, she will store almost everything in the refrigerator. She store all her sauces, including her soy sauce, her wine, her oil, and everything. She just put them in the refrigerator. And then she said to me that she even store her dry seasoning agents in the refrigerator as well. And so consequently, her refrigerator is very full of different type of sauces, and that take away a lot of room for her to store other things as well. And she told me that since she's really not sure what is the best way to store them, this may be the safest way for her to do it. So in this video, I would like to group them into different categories that some of them you should store in the refrigerator and some of them you should store in the cupboard. So when it comes to storing seasoning agents in different locations, it really comes down to two major considerations. One is that whether the seasoning agent will become contaminated with microbial organisms and that lead to growth and therefore spoiling of the seasoning agents. Another one is that the seasoning agent might not be subject to microbial contamination or invasion, but it will affect the quality or the property of the seasoning agents. So in this case, you need to find the best place to store them. Now, when it comes to microbial contamination, that you can divide them into basically two categories. One is that microbial contamination caused by bacteria. And these are little microorganisms that will cause spoiling of the food. One of the common way to think of bacteria is that the bacteria that you use for fermenting, for example, cheese. And one way you also know that this bacteria play an important role is that if you put milk in the room temperature very quickly, the milk will start to spoil and taste bad, and this is due to bacterial contamination. The second one is that the contamination caused by fungi, and these are the type of situation when you leave a loaf of bread in room temperature. Quite often you will find that the bread will have mold growing on it. So these are the two most common forms of microbial contamination. Now, for both of these microbial contamination to occur, your seasoning agent has to have moisture in it. For example, if you have a seasoning agent that contains sugar or that is wet, that is a sauce, most likely that you will find it if you store in room temperature, this will lead to this microbial contamination. However, if you store them in the refrigerated temperature, you will find that it will prevent this microorganism to grow. Basically, at this temperature, microorganisms not able to carry out their enzymatic reactions, therefore will prevent them from going to grow. So based on this consideration, anything that is wet, like a sauce, you should store them in a refrigerator, whether it is oyster sauce, hoisin sauce, Panda Express, orange sauce, sweet and sour sauce, any type of sauce that has moisture in it, particularly when they contain some sugar in it, and that will cause them to subject to microbial contamination. And this could be caused by either bacteria or by fungi. Now, in all these cases, the important part is that the microorganism is not that they're absent, but because the cold temperature suppress them from growing. So anytime when you open a new bottle of sauce, you should keep them in the refrigerator. Actually, with almost any type of sauces, with only exceptions are that sauces that have high salt content or with high vinegar content. Both of this condition will suppress the growth of microorganisms. For example, soy sauce has a very high salt content, much higher than oyster sauce, so you can store soy sauce in room temperature without having them to be subject to growth of microorganisms. Similarly, vinegar, pure vinegar, you will not have microorganisms to grow because the low pH will prevent microorganisms to grow. However, if the pH is not low as in the case of vinegar, then some microorganisms still will be able to grow. So in this case, you should store them in the refrigerator. In addition to salt and vinegar, the other chemicals that often will suppress microbial growth is alcohol. Anything containing alcohol will prevent microorganisms from growing. So if you have cooking wine, you can store them in room temperature, and that will not lead to microbial contamination. And of course, the other fluid that you don't need to have to worry about their contamination by either bacteria or fungi are oil. You can store your cooking oil in room temperature, or other type of seasoning oil such as sesame oil or hot chili oil. All of those would do very well in room temperature. The next part of this video I'd like to address is that the convenience of how you store your seasoning agents. How do you store your sauces? I discovered the best way to store your sauces is to group them into some sort of container that you can take out from the refrigerator as soon as you are ready to cook. So you have all those seasoning agents available to you. Now, I have a friend, he actually have two containers, or you can call it a basket, to store his most frequently used seasoning agents. He divided them into two baskets. The first basket are the seasoning agent that he uses on a regular basis, that he will use all the time. And the second basket are seasoning agent that he will use only occasionally. So every time when he cooks, the first thing he would do is that he would take out the basket of the seasoning agent that he is going to use all the time. And depending on what he is cooking, he will also take out the second basket. So it all depends on how quickly he wants to have his meal cooked. And if he are in a hurry, he will only take out the first basket, and he will not take the second basket out because he just wants to do something straightforward and simple. Just like in the case of advanced prepping, you want to have your seasoning agents available to you right at your fingertip. So when you're ready to cook, you should have them right there. As the French culinary term mise en place suggests, is that the better you are well prepared for your cooking, the more likely you're going to cook with efficiency as well as with enjoyment. So having your seasoning agent put it in such a way that as soon as you get them out, you will have all of your seasoning agent available to you right as the way how you want it. You are most likely to cook with greater creativity, and you're more likely to experiment with different type of seasoning agents. I hope this video gave you some general idea how you can store your seasoning agents under different conditions. If you have any question, please write me at walkwithtak@gmail.com. I will be more than happy to answer whatever question that you might have. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. If you would like to adopt my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.